In today's episode, you are going to learn about ways to keep yourself safe online. With the changing landscape of tech and AI, we will focus on cybersecurity and ways to avoid being a victim of identity theft, scams, and phishing attempts.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Hey, babe. What are we talking about today?
It is Cybersecurity Month in October, and so we are going to talk about how to stay safe online and not make yourself or be a victim of cybersecurity crimes, phishing, scams, etc.
I feel like every other day we receive like some type of letter saying that from some companies saying that there's been a data breach of their company and that we need to keep an eye out on our stuff so that our identity is not stolen, etc.
There's literally one on our kitchen counter right now. Like literally every single time we open the mail, there's a data breach. And you cannot avoid it, right? Like I have to pay my medical bills. This one was from a medical, like healthcare something. And like we've been paying medical bills left and right. Like I just had surgery. Our daughter was hospitalized over the summer. I mean, it is nonstop. So it is a timely episode, and we want to make sure that you are also staying as safe as possible.
And after you finish listening to this episode, I would also highly recommend that you recommend it to your friends and also your parents.
Yes.
Because I feel like I'm thankful that my mom, if anything looks fishy, she asks me about it or whatever it may be. But I know we have friends of ours who have, their parents have unfortunately been, got. So
I know. Remember that one time where my mom, I guess you traded something and my mom texted you like, was that you? And you're like, hackers aren't like trading your stocks.
Yeah. So I had made a purchase of a ETF in her account.
Oh yeah. Purchase, not a trade. Sorry.
Yeah,
we're not day trading over here.
I purchased the fund in her account and she was like, is that you? Are you like, making sure? I'm like, yeah, that's not what, like she said, that's not what hackers do. They don't hack into your account to make a fund purchase.
To make purchases.
They hack in there to take your money.
Right. But, better to be safe than sorry.
I 100% agree. I will take those questions all day because I prefer that than the alternative where our parents think something is okay and then they end up clicking on something and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, absolutely. There definitely needs to be a component of making sure that our parents are aware of the latest and greatest scams because they are ever evolving. AI is taking over a whole new facet of online scams. And so we all need to stay vigilant, and we need to let the older people in our life know what's going on and what to look out for as well. So first and foremost, we've said it once, we've said it 100 times. We will continue to say it. One of the best ways to protect yourself from somebody stealing your identity and or opening accounts in your name is to lock your credit bureaus.
Yes.
Lock your credit bureaus. We have gotten text messages from friends saying, oh no, somebody opened an account in my name. Should have locked my credit bureaus a year ago, like you said. Y'all, we are not doing this podcast for our health. We are doing it because we want people to thrive and to be taken care of and to have a great retirement and to actually be able to retire, because there's plenty of people who are not going to be able to retire and they're going to work until they're 70 plus. And we don't want that. Lock your credit bureaus. That is Experian, that is TransUnion, and Equifax. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. You can go to their website. You can sign up for free, create a login, a profile, and freeze or lock your credit bureaus. They're pretty much, you want to put a freeze on it. It's pretty much the same thing. You can unfreeze it at any point. Really, the only time you would need to unfreeze your account is if you are looking to open a line of credit somewhere. You're buying a house, you're buying a car, you want to open a new credit card. It's also a really great way to not get sucked into those store cards that are trying to get you to save 10% on your $4.16 purchase at HomeGoods. You don't need to open these store credit cards. Protect yourself, lock your credit bureaus. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Yeah, that is where you're doing that.
And what it does is, in the event that someone does try to steal your identity, if they go to apply for a credit card in your name, then what ends up happening is that when the credit card company goes to run your credit, it can't go through because your credit bureaus are locked.
Yeah. And you'll get a notification basically saying, hey, was this you? You know, like in the event that you forget that your credit bureaus are locked and you're actually like sitting at the car dealership trying to purchase this car, you'll get a notification letting you know that somebody was trying to access your credit. So it's a twofold system, right? The scammers can't actually get in, but you're also being alerted in the event of something fishy happening. One of the other things along with that, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, that's where you're going to get your annual credit reports as well. So if you're not already looking at your credit report on an annual basis, if not twice a year, you should be doing that. I mean, we have plenty of examples of friends and family looking at their annual credit report and seeing, oh crap, something was opened and I had no idea. And now it takes time to dispute. It doesn't just like, you don't just make a quick phone call and it falls off. So these things take time. And again, try to prevent people from actually opening these accounts by locking your credit bureaus. We will say that until the end of time. Okay. You also want to update your passwords, right? Everything takes a password these days. You want to update your passwords on your computers, on your phone, on your apps. Don't reuse passwords. I know how frustrating that is, but you really want to make sure that you're utilizing strong passwords. And in a lot of cases now, the apps will recommend strong passwords for you that have a bajillion characters and letters, and then you can save them in your password manager if that's what you choose. But you want to not use the same password over and over and over again.
Another thing I would point out too is that I have seen now like a feature where it will point out if my password has quote unquote been compromised and showed up in a data breach. So if I normally use Chrome. So on Google Chrome, if that password has been breached, has been compromised in a data breach, it'll alert you and allow you to let you know, hey, you need to possibly make a new password because you don't want somebody hacking into your system.
Yeah, absolutely. Another way to make sure that people are not getting into your apps or into the sites that you're frequenting is to turn on that multi-factor authentication. I know it can be a little frustrating, right? It's like you're on a website and then you have to enter in the code that you got on your text message or in your email. But again, it's really to keep you safe because you don't want somebody getting on an app or, if your computer was stolen or your phone was stolen, etc., for them to just be able to access anything. And so having that multi-factor authentication turned on, especially on your Facebook, your Instagram, your social media, you can turn it on for all of those common apps so that you are not just putting yourself at risk for somebody to, again, log in as you, steal your identity, etc.
As someone who works in finance, I'm already used to it because most of the sites that I'm going to and working with clients already have that on there where basically every time you log in, it's going to send you a text message or some sort of, double
yeah,
authentication to make sure that it's you that's actually logging in.
He'll log into one of my accounts and do something, and then he'll call me. We'll be literally in the same house, and he'll be like, "What's the code?" So,
what's the code they sent?
What's the code they sent? I mean, again, it's for your protection. I understand it's one extra step, but it really is in place to help keep us safe. We're all working off of a computer, off of our phones, so we need to make sure that all of our security is up to date, our malware is up to date.
Is it malware or malware?
Malware?
I don't know. I always call it malware. I don't know if it's correct or not.
Well, we can go with yours, malware. And then same for your cell phones, right? There's constantly, we have iPhones, but there's constantly iOS updates. Again, those are in place to help keep us safe. My phone is actually connected to my computer for work. And so I will get notifications saying, hey, you have to update your iOS device by this date. Otherwise, we're shutting everything down. So, again, it seems dramatic, but it's really not. These updates are in place to help keep us safe.
Yeah, your computer, you can set it up to run periodic scans to make sure that one, there's no malware on there and that all the security features are up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as we go through some of the rest of the list, I think one of the main things that we need to do as we're all super, super busy is slow down, because what happens is a lot of times these scammers, they're hoping to catch us when we're out the door on a Monday morning, or we're, in the school pickup line, we're at the grocery store trying to get something done. They're trying to catch us off guard. And unfortunately, we've heard too many stories of people who get a phone call as they're rushing the kids out of the house, and they're like, hey, we're your bank and we just need your social security number to confirm XYZ. And in the madness, in the rush of things, we're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And then you have a moment of, wait a minute, my bank has never called me for that information. And the next thing you know, your accounts have been wiped and your identity has been stolen.
I can assure you that no one from any type of financial institution is going to proactively call you and then ask for your social security number.
It's not
That's
going to
not
happen.
going to happen.
No.
Normally, if you have to give your social security number, it's because you called in and they're trying to verify you. It's not going to be the other way around.
Right.
And they are getting really good with these things. Some of them are terrible because like I get texts sometimes like, the U.S. Postal Service has a package for you. I'm like,
right. Click this link. USPS is not that advanced.
Yeah, they don't do that. But I have seen really good ones in regards to like, your Microsoft account needs some type of, update or authorization, whatever it may be. And these emails look legit. They look like, they are coming straight from Microsoft. But the one thing that I always do when I receive those is that I look at the sender.
Yes.
Where did it come from?
Open up the sender.
What is that email address? Because if it doesn't end in @Microsoft.com, it's not from them.
Correct. If it ends in a Gmail and they're claiming to be Microsoft, it's not them.
And whenever you're in doubt, so for example, let's just say you received an email from your banking institution and it's asking you to click on a link or do something because your account needs to be authorized. When in doubt, either call the institution yourself or log on through your portal online. And normally it would be there as well if that was something that was legit.
You would have a message waiting.
You have a message waiting for you that you need to do A, B, and C.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. If you're getting a call from your bank or any place where you might have an account asking for you to confirm or verify any of your personal information, maybe it's not as dramatic as your social. Could be your phone number, could be your home address. A lot of these portals, they'll ask you, hey, in the last 6 years, what are the 2 addresses where you've lived, right? As a way to identify you. So they're just trying to collect information. Even if it's not your social, don't share it. Hang up immediately, right? This is the one time you get to be rude. Hang up.
And no one is going to call you from any type of financial institution and ask to verify you.
Right.
That does not happen.
Hang up and then call that institution, right? If somebody's calling you claiming to be from American Express or Capital One or your regular bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, hang up immediately and then call that institution and they will verify. They'll probably verify, no, we did not call you and thank you for alerting us. And then within a few days, you'll probably get an official email from them alerting everybody of, scams going around and happening. One of the other things that you can do, we're in this age of everything's sent via text and via email. If there is encryption available, right, if you can send an encrypted email, especially emails where you're actually getting where you're sending personal information back and forth, you don't want to just send that willy-nilly. You want to make sure that that is coming from or being sent through an encrypted method. I remember at one point we were working with a CPA and the emails she was sending were not encrypted.
So angry.
Brandon was livid. He was like, and we're done.
Because she sent us our tax return. I sent it to her encrypted. And then she sent us a copy of it, being done, not encrypted, with our social security numbers. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was the end for Brandon. He was like, and we're done. We cannot work with this person anymore. So, just again, be mindful, be vigilant. If you do need to send something and you don't have encryption software or encryption on your emails, you can ask, if that institution has it. And then when you reply, it will be encrypted as well. So just be mindful.
Yeah. Normally, like, for example, like any financial institutions that require any type of paperwork that may have this type of information on it that you don't want other people to get their hands on, you can normally upload it through a portal on the website. And I say that's the most efficient way to do it because one, it's going to be encrypted and it's also just quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things, in this era of Facebook and Facebook Marketplace and selling things online, obviously stay aware of scams where you're sending money back and forth, or if you're trying to receive money, there's known scams where with Zelle, once you send the money, that's it, So for example, and I know this is an older scam, but one of the things that was happening often on Facebook Marketplace is, you would be selling something, somebody would show interest, you would basically say, here's my Zelle or here's my Venmo, and then they'll say, oh, my brother or sister is going to come pick it up, I got stuck at work. And then they would file a claim saying that they never received the item. They get to keep the money, and then you're basically on the hook, right? They never wanted your item to begin with. And so just be mindful. I hate to say this, but use common sense. If it feels wrong, if, somebody's being super pushy, if they're not spelling anything correctly, it's a red flag. Is it worth you getting $7 for that item to deal with the repercussions of some sort of a scammer? It's probably not. So just be mindful of those situations.
And like you said, be aware of the different rules and for the different types of payment apps on if you send it to the wrong person, can you get it back? Because I would say most of them you cannot. So
Right.
You need to double, triple, quadruple check that you are sending it to the correct person.
Yeah, I'm at the point where unless I'm selling it directly in a neighborhood page and or we have mutual connections, I'm just not going to be posting online. And so again, this is something, I always get worried about your mom because she's posting stuff on Facebook Marketplace and I'm like, is it worth it? So just be mindful, be aware, don't click on links, look at where it's coming from. A lot of these
I don't click on anything.
Yeah.
If you're sending it to me in a text message or whatever, unless I personally know you.
Right. A lot of these emails, I keep getting one from PayPal that's like, here's your invoice. And the products are always absolutely ridiculous. And so again, I knew that they were fake. I blocked the sender and I have since gone to my PayPal accounts and made sure that I've got my multi-factor authentication on, etc., that nothing fishy is going on there. And so just at this stage, we need to be more hyper aware. We need to not go into our emails and text messages trusting them. We need to be a little bit more skeptical. And I hate to say that. One of the last things that I'll say about this is in this era of AI, it would be really good to have a family password that you and your spouse, you and your parents, you and your children are aware of. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that there's a scam where people are using AI to replicate people's voices and basically blackmailing phone calls of you need to send me this much money, I've got your child, etc. Again, in those situations, hang up, call that person, make sure that they're okay. I know that in those moments of panic, it's hard to think clearly, but your mind should first go to, this is a scam. This is not real. Let me hang up and call that person and make sure that they're okay. And then that's when you can also say, what's our family password or what's our, money handling password, whatever you want to establish. Basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring life back into that scenario and ensure that the person you're talking to is the person on the other end of that line that they say that they are. So this episode is not meant to scare anybody. We don't want to instill fear or make you, into a conspiracy theorist of any kind, but we do want you to be aware and mindful because technology and AI, they are rapidly changing and evolving, and we just need to stay on top of what's going on in the industry and keep ourselves and our families safe.
Yeah, and I would say, like I said, once again, share this episode, especially with your parents, because we grew up with technology, so we are a little bit more adept to, noticing these discrepancies as compared to they're not necessarily. I mean, we've had friends of ours who, unfortunately, we have one really good friend whose mother, kind of fell for one of these things and they gained access to her phone. And by gaining access to her phone, they gained access to passwords to all her different bank accounts, stuff of that nature. They started to drain money, and she did get the money back, but it was a long, long, scary process because she was afraid that she wasn't going to get it back. So, have these conversations with your parents. Tell them like, hey, like, if you see something that you're just not quite even sure about, let me know.
Take a screenshot. Don't keep sending it, right? Don't hit forward. We don't want to keep, those malware things. We don't want to pass those along, but you can take a screenshot, send it to your child and say, hey, does this feel right?
Yeah.
What should I do? When in doubt, ask, what should I do? Don't reply, don't click on the links, and keep yourself and your family safe.
Yeah, worst case scenario, I can tell you this much. Like, there are just certain places that aren't going to send you, emails or text messages. The post office, the IRS. That's not how the IRS works. You're going to receive something in the mail. They're not going to send you an email.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay safe out there. If this was helpful to you, please share it with your friends and family, and we will talk to you soon.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go.